Yo, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and you're tuned in to the only podcast that has no idea what pushing P means. And depending on how you kick it, that could be taken several different ways. Welcome to another episode of It's a Black and White Thing. I am one half of the dynamic duo A1. This is It's a Black and White Thing with A1 and A Ward. I'm one half of the dynamic duo A1. You can call me Carlos. You can also call me Dan. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for Brands and Bars, and subscribing, rate, review, and subscribing. You can do the same thing by going to YouTube, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and leaving comments there as well. You can also follow us on all social media by searching at Brands and Bars. That's by all social media. That is meant Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're not on TikTok yet. We're old men. We're not. I'm not there yet. I know A Ward is on there because of branding and all that good stuff. I'm not on there yet. So, as always, I'm joined by my guy, my homie A Ward. What is up, my guy?
What's up, my guy? What's up, A Ward, aka Trapper of the Year? Don't ever forget that. Anybody you ever met does not trap like me. I'm the trapper of all trappers. I am the trapper keeper. I always come with 3 rounds connected to pages. So no, but no, it's good to be here, man. It's good to be here. Um, IamAward.com. That's where you can go find me. Go to the website. Make sure you follow me on all your social media, hyperlinks, and all that good stuff. Check out the battles. Check out merch. Just about any and everything you can check out as an artist. I appreciate it. If y'all would just follow, like, subscribe to YouTube. Everything's IMA Award. So thank you guys for the support. Good to be back in the flow of getting the podcast done weekly. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. It's a good time for sports right now as well. Good time for battle rap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, and for those who rock with us since day one, we appreciate you. To those who are new, welcome. And we got a good show for you tonight. We're doing things a little bit differently. Shout out to Jarvis in the building. We're doing things a little bit differently than we used to do them. If you tune into the show, obviously you know we used to start we used to start each episode with what I learned, and then we get into what A Ward is looking forward to. But we're doing, like I said, we're doing things a little bit differently this time around. New year, new us, right? You know what I'm saying? And so
Facts.
right now we got a little bit of a pregame where we have 3 topics. We got 3 topics, kind of like battle rap style. We got 3 minutes hard cap. So at the 3 minute mark, whatever we're talking about, it's done. We're moving on to the next topic. So we're going to start with some news around not only sports but also battle rap. And so the only thing I have on the docket today from a battle rap perspective, um, from a battle rap perspective, is
Yeah.
Midnight Madness is going down this weekend in Atlanta, undisclosed location. Only 60 people. That is hilarious. You got to get like the little Maybach John, so it just kind of pops up out of the
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
your desk like the Maybach logo.
That would be
Um,
like
Yo, but shout out to Battle Rap Trap. They do have the streets. They are back
my
lit.
bad.
Shout out to London Jen. Dang, I forgot his homie's name, so please forgive me. Charges in my head and
Will,
not my
Will,
heart.
Will, 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 Will. It's
No,
Will. It's
not
Will.
Will. It's the other young gentleman. I know Will is normally behind the camera. It's the other guy. I can't think of his name. He has the Trap Salutely. Um,
Splizzy? Is it Splizzy or is it the?
you're close on the name, so please forgive us for messing up your name. I
Okay.
apologize. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
shout
on
out
us.
to Verified Source. I know that's the show that they have on Caffeine. Shout out to them for the Trap Awards, for you being the Toady, the Trapper of the Year. So I want to definitely shout that out. But
Facts.
speaking of battle rap, Midnight Madness going down this weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. Only 60 people allowed. Apparently, only approved Midnight Madness media. You can, I guess, other media can be outside the venue, but I guess it's kind of an old school feel, of you won't know what happens until it drops or until somebody talks about it. Um, so yeah, so going down, let's run through. Let me get the clock set up because we got 3 minutes, 3 minutes hard cap. We're just gonna go and run through the list of battles. We give our quick take on them, and we can keep it moving. So here we go. First up, Midnight Madness battle is someone called Just Cuz versus Hustle, not Miss Hustle, Hustle. Um, I'll turn it over to you because I know nothing about either of these individuals, but they were good enough, or they talked their way, or into Midnight Madness, and so salute to them. So Just Cuz versus Hustle, who you got?
Do you do you know if they're all 3 rounds? What are the battles? Do
I
you
do
know?
not know that. I do not know the stipulations. I am not. I'm unaware.
Okay. Okay, cool. Just Cause and Hustle. Since I don't know if you guys knew, I am the 2021 Trapper of the Year. One thing about people that trap is hustling is like kind of like a synonym for trapping. And so since I don't know um, Hustle or Just Cause, I'm a little bit torn because Just Cause his initials are JC, and so are Jesus Christ, and I love him. Man, I'm going Hustle 2-1, just based off of assuming that he wins or she wins, whichever one.
So I'm going to go with Just Cuz because I have no idea. Again, I'm interested to see both of these MCs and see how they do. So shout out to them. All right, next up, J2 versus Bad News. Some battlers I'm a little bit more familiar with. Who you got?
I got bad news. I got bad news. I haven't seen bad news in a while. Shout out to
Not since he
bad
battled
news.
Street Hymns.
Um, yeah, it's been since he battled Street Him. So I like bad news. I like his aggression. I don't know what J2 could really say to bad news. Bad news definitely has the believability, the kind of like aura around him a little bit, So coming from J2 and who J2, the content that he uses and different things like that, I don't know. I'm going with bad news in edging out a battle. I do think it could possibly be debatable, but I'm giving it.
I'm gonna roll with Bad News. Haven't seen him in a while. I think J2 is not new to the scene, but he's a decent battler. But I'm gonna go Bad News. Shooney versus Fendi. I'll go first. I'm not. I'm unaware of Fendi's work. I'm pretty sure she's dope, but I'm going with Shooney just because I am more aware and experienced with her and her material, and I think she's gonna get the dub.
Yeah, I'm going with Fendi. I think the last time I saw Shooney, I don't know. I think she might have not finished her rounds, and so I
Mm.
don't know Fendi that well, but I'm going with Fendi just based off of um, I guess.
All right, lightning round because we got 20 seconds left. Drugs versus
All right,
Trufo. Who you got?
drugs.
I am going to go drugs as well. Snake Eyes versus None None.
Who?
Snake Eyes versus None None.
Snake Eyes 3-0.
I'm going None None, and then Big T versus Luke Castro. We're almost out of time. Big T versus Luke Castro. Who you got?
Castro. Castro.
Castro. Okay, I am going Big T. All right, so y'all can let us know what y'all think. Who y'all got in these Midnight Madness matchups? All right, let's jump to the NBA real quick. Are the Suns rising in the West? The Phoenix Suns have the best record in the NBA right now. They're 38-9. They've won 8 in a row, 9 of their last 10. Should they be the favorites as we head into the All-Star break?
Whose article did you steal that from? Are the Suns rising in the West?
Hey, you listen. I'm not the only one who got bars. You know what I'm saying? I
I
do a
know,
little
right?
bit. I do a little bit.
No,
You know
no,
what I'm
say,
saying?
say, oh, well, who said that first, man? I need to know. Are they the favorite coming out of the All Star break?
Should that be
No,
the
I still
favorites
think
going
Golden.
into the All Star break?
Oh, going into it, yeah. No, I think the Golden State Warriors and Golden State probably is still the favorite to win it.
Okay.
They split the
Um,
season. They split the season right now. Are they 1-1 in the season?
I think they're 1-1. They have not played a third time yet. Phoenix, I think they both were blowouts. I know Phoenix won the first game. Golden State blew them out like a couple of days later. So they are 1-1 thus far. Phoenix is up 3.5 games in the West right now on the Golden State Warriors.
Hmm.
Steph Curry is a little bit of a shooting slump right now. But Chris Paul, I think right now, first early on the season, Steph Curry, as he was getting closer to that 3-point record, was seen
Hmm.
as the MVP favorite, as the guy that who's going to take that award. I feel like if they end up with the number one record in the West, which I believe will be for the second year in a row, oh no, the Jazz got it. Jazz got the number one seed. My fault. But if they end up with the best seed in the NBA this year, to me, Chris Paul, in a year where LeBron is playing great, but the Lakers are not as good, in a year where Jokic is having another MVP season, but they're not as good.
Ja,
Um, Milwaukee's top three.
Ja Morant.
Oh
Ja
man.
Morant.
Yeah, shout out to Ja, man. Ja, they're great. Let me look up the standings real quick and see where they are standings wise because
They're
I feel
third.
like
They're
those
third
things
seed right
go
now.
hand in. I think they got to finish second. If they don't finish second, I'm not sure that.
Mm,
Granted, as great of a season as Ja is having, and shout out to Ja. Like that's when Russell Westbrook finally hangs it up. That's going to be my favorite player in the league to follow and watch. But I think they got to end up as a two seed, maybe the one. It's going to be hard to make up 6.5 games on the Suns because I don't unless
yeah.
injuries set in, I don't see them falling back to the pack in such a fashion. But I think Ja's top three. I think right now for me, if I had to put together a ballot, I'm going to go CP3.
Jokic.
Probably, yeah, I would say Jokic and maybe LeBron, just because. And I get it, the Lakers are a 9 seed, but they would be the bottom of the West and one of the worst records in the league if were not for LeBron James.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, but let's not forget DeMar DeRozan. Let's not
Hey
let's
man,
not
hey,
not use DeMar DeRozan's name because that guy
you're
deserves
right.
it.
Take out LeBron, put DeMar in the top three on that phase. So y'all let us know what y'all think about that topic. All right, Major League Baseball. So normally when you hear an umpire say play ball, that is a declarative statement to begin a baseball game. But right now, that declarative statement is in question. The MLB is locked out the players union right now. They're trying to reach an agreement. They have had some talks and back-to-back days, but nothing substantive towards a new deal. So I want to ask you if the Major League Baseball Association and the players union, I'm sorry, and the owners are not able to strike a deal, how does that affect the sport of baseball? I know you just saw that note
I'm
from
so
Jarvis.
mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad we disrespected Joel Embiid like that. That is so.
I
That
think he's
is
top five.
disrespectful.
It's a crowded field. It's a crowded field. So I agree with Jarvis's point there. But how do you think
That
a
man had.
lockout and not starting on time affects Major League Baseball? A couple of things. Spring training is supposed to
Is
start
it just me or does
early
this
next
happen
month.
like every other year?
No, I mean, I think it's been 10 years of labor peace. This has been kind of broiling and coming. I mean, the union of all of the major sports leagues, the Major League Baseball Players Association and the owners have the most contentious relationship. It can get pretty heated
Hmm.
between the two, and this was coming down the line. We knew this was coming, and now it's just can they again? The season starts on March 31st. Can they get this together in time to get the season started on time? And if they don't, how does that affect them?
I haven't really paid too much attention to see if it's here or if it's here or like what is the are we
You
way
can't
way off? It's way
listen,
off.
listen. Watch my hands as they leave the screen. That's how
Hmm.
far apart
Hmm.
they are right now. They're not close right now.
Yeah. So baseball's known to strike before, so why not? And I don't I I would love to see. I love spring. I love spring training. I love opening day at the K. Like I would. Uh, Jarvis is in here watching. Like, and that's the kind of guy right now that we need really to just send a link to and pop up on the show and talk about it.
You
um,
know what? You know what? Maybe if we have time next week, we'll get
yeah,
Jarvis on to talk about it because he is a lot more knowledgeable about these things than both of
yeah.
us. Here's the thing I'll say about the strike and the lockout right now. Listen, baseball, I would say is probably if you of the professional sports is number three behind the NFL and the NBA. Right now, you have everyone
In what?
talking
In what?
in popularity.
You think
I don't
so?
think that's in question. Yeah, I don't think that's in question.
Really? Hmm.
Yes, I don't think that's in question. I think the NBA is the second most popular sport in America, and then MLB is third. I'm pretty sure if we look at
Okay. I
ratings,
think I think I think MLB might be second.
I think if you look at ratings and social media presence, I don't think it's close between those two. But we can research that and find out. Here's the thing I'll say
Well,
though.
I think for the social media generation, yeah, probably. But baseball is just like the greatest pastime, so I think maybe. But yeah,
Keyword pass. So we got a couple of seconds and I'll close this out. Here's the thing. We are coming off a weekend where people are talking about the NFL potentially having the greatest weekend ever of football. The NBA, you have maybe you don't have a super team that everyone wants to follow and loves to hate, but you have compelling characters there. The Bulls are back. The Knicks maybe not as back as they were last year, but they're interesting and compelling. You got obviously Steph is back, Clay is back, LeBron and the Lakers issues, all these different storylines around those two sports. If you're Major League Baseball, you cannot afford to lock yourself out and fall even further behind, in my opinion, those two major sports. You risk alienating those who are diehards and losing those casuals. They got to get this resolved, get back into these meetings, get from here to here, get a deal done, and get this season started on time. Because anything, if starting in April, May, June, you risk not only screwing up the schedule for the season, but also losing more of your fan base. So that's my take on Major League Baseball and their issues. Also, shout out to David Ortiz, who was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, the only member to make it. No
Big
Bonds, no
Poppy.
Clemens, no Schilling. Um, no Bonds, no Clemens, no Schilling. And so he'll be enshrined on the next ballot. Those, I think Bonds for sure moves to I think it's like the Veterans Committee to see if he can get in. So we'll see what happens there. Let us know what you think about those topics, and that is our pre-game. All right, let's jump into our actual meat of the show. Pause if you kick it that way. Let's jump into the actual, the thing we came here for. NFL football divisional playoffs went down this weekend. Listen, man. I First of all, let me say this. I think all of these games were entertaining. To call it the greatest. Yeah, okay, drivers. Okay, okay, okay. To call it the greatest weekend of football ever, I think is a stretch. But we'll go across the league and talk about each of these four games, and then we'll talk about the AFC, NFC title games. So let's start with the first game of the weekend: Titans versus Bengals. Um, Titans versus Bengals.
Have you ever been to the
Um,
Mayo Clinic and it became the AO Clinic?
Shout out to EK Loso and Ace Amin in Gray Area. If you haven't watched that show, go check it out.
Yeah.
Titans versus Bengals went down this weekend. Great. I shouldn't say great game. Entertaining game. Interesting game. We talked
Mhm.
about that game. I think we both picked the Titans. I mentioned in
Mhm.
particular that the game was going to come down to the front four. I thought the Titans would win the game because their front four was going to create pressure, sack Joe Burrow, and they did that 9 times. Not
Nine of
one,
them things.
not two, not three, 9 times, and somehow they still lost the game. And man, I'm sick of the Titans. I just gotta. They are the Wisconsin of the NFL. Their offense, and when I say that, I mean offensively. Their offense is offensive. Um, if you sack someone 9 times, you should win a game by at least two touchdowns, if not more, because you are shutting down
Right.
an offense. And the fact that I get it, Derrick Henry came back, he was okay. Dontrell Hilliard was okay, but
No, I wouldn't say Derrick Henry was okay. I would say it was mediocre.
think it was mediocre. Let me look up the
Yeah, I think
stats
it
from
was.
that game. But I just feel like the Titans are never going to be taken seriously. They're never going to be seen as a threat. You're right, 20 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. They're never going to be taken serious as a threat because their offense, when you have to have it, when you're playing great teams, they can't get the job done. What do you think?
I think that well, one, I think that we noticed Tannehill threw three interceptions.
True.
First play of the game was an interception. The last pass that sealed it was an interception. So when you start that way, even with 9 sacks, it's kind of hard to overcome. I tweeted out that just the idea of starting Derrick Henry, that maybe they rushed him back too soon, and I thought that was a problem. I actually thought Foreman, when he had the ball, ran the ball much better than
Mhm.
Derrick Henry did at times. Their offense is built on getting a lead and keeping a lead. Um, and when you're giving the ball away and when you're not running the ball effectively, they just become a very mediocre team. They have a Tannehill is a serviceable quarterback, but he's not a quarterback that wins you games in the playoffs against other good teams. That's just kind of how it is. So I wanted Tennessee to win. It's so disrespectful to that defensive line and 9 sacks, man. I don't know what the average possessions a game it is, but I wonder if they like literally had a sack on every possession that they had the ball and somehow overcame that and still won the game.
Yo, so a couple of things. You're right. It was Dante Foreman, not Dontrell Hilliard. He had 4 carries for 66 yards.
Yeah,
Um, I tweeted after the game, like, if I'm the defense, I'm telling the offense to square up. Like, you got to run my fade. Like, you
yeah,
cannot, 19 points total, 9 sacks. I gave you every opportunity available to win this game, and you could not get it done. Jarvis said they
yeah.
got at Tannehill. I think I put that on the screen early, but I'll throw it back up there. I get that they got at Tannehill, but again, like, you're the
Was a
number
lot of
one
pressure on him.
overall seed. I don't. I mean, there was pressure, but I mean, again, so two of his three interceptions were tipped passes, right? I mean, the one that sealed the game basically went off the hands of the wide receiver. The second one,
Yeah, he
or not
forced
the
it though. I'm all about giving the quarterback the benefit of the doubt, but he forced that pass in there, trying to make a play. And I mean, he let it go before the comeback, before the guy got turned around, and the defensive back made a great play on it. So I don't really fault the wide receiver in that pass. It was definitely forced, and it's like kind of knowing where you're at on the field at that point in time, and knowing is that worth the risk, and obviously it wasn't. But
yeah, and shout out to Joe Burrow because I'm gonna tell you, man, like, after 9 sacks, man, like, I'm looking at the offensive line and being like, "Hey, did I do something to y'all? Like, I got y'all
mm-hmm.
Rolexes. I'm gonna need them back. I'm gonna need them back. Like, cause y'all not helping your boy out. So I mean,
Yeah.
I shout out to him. Shout out to Jamar Chase, who is a beast, bro. Like that guy. We're gonna talk about him a little bit more when we get to the Chiefs game, but that guy right there, that guy, amazing, amazing. Speaking of yo, while we're talking, I got a DM from some random account that says, "Hello, madam. How are you doing today?" But anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, let's jump into the second game of the weekend: 49ers versus Packers. As most of you know, if you follow the show for some time, I am a San Francisco 49ers fan. Shout out to the Niners Nation, Niners gang. And I did not watch this game for Christmas. I bought my wife tickets to go see the musical Wicked. It was dope, but I did not expect the Niners to make the playoffs the way they were playing at the time I purchased the tickets. I did not expect them to beat Dallas. Well, I thought they would beat Dallas. That's not true. I thought they would beat Dallas. I just didn't expect that they would be playing at the same time I was at the musical. So while that game took place, I was in the Casey Music Hall watching Wicked. Very good show. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And when I got out of the musical, I saw that my team had won by blocking a punt. Jimmy Garoppolo showing up uh, at finally and throwing two crisp passes, two of them, two crisp passes. The rest were running plays, and Robbie Gold kicking the game-winning field goal. Your thoughts on that game, 49ers versus Packers, and I give mine.
Man, I think that game was more about like the failure of Aaron Rodgers than it was like the actual, emergence of the San Francisco 49ers. Like I didn't go into this week thinking the Niners are playing amazing football and they are just I think it was more so just uh just Green Bay at home just basically just not showing up. And it's wild. I didn't know the stat beforehand that he was 0-3 against the Niners in the playoffs. And now Aaron Rodgers is 0-4 against the Niners in the playoffs. He's literally he's already 1-4 in NFC championship games. And now he doesn't even reach the NFC championship game. So like to me, watching that game was more about like um, especially after the weekend, realizing the quarterbacks like Allen and Mahomes, um, and how they came in and take over games and they put their footprint on the game, and not seeing Aaron Rodgers do that at all against a team that basically backed into the playoffs. Like I said, my confidence meter with the 49ers going forward is not huge at all. They do have a solid defense. I do think they have a solid defense. They have playmakers. Debo Samuel is a dog. Elijah Mitchell is able to get the job done as a running back.
Facts.
But yeah, I think to me it was more. I think it was to me more about the Packers' ineptitude and how they basically just laid an egg in the playoffs.
Shout out to that $5 Scrabble word there you just pulled out with ineptitude.
Hey,
Yo, shout out to Ricky, our homie Ricky. Ricky, after the 49ers beat the Cowboys, he said it was luck. And then once I got out the theater and saw that they had won the game, I tweeted at him and said, "Was that luck also?" And he said, "Yes." that they were simply delaying the inevitable. And Ricky, I have a message for you. In order to delay the inevitable, you know what you have to do? You have to win. You have to win the
Hey,
game. And that's what the 49ers have
you
done on back to
play
back
to
weeks.
win the game.
As a sixth seed, they have now defeated the third overall seed in the NFC and the number one overall seed in the NFC. You
Hmm.
know what their defense has done? They have taken the number one ranked defense, according to Pro Football Outsiders, in DVOA, the number one ranked offense, and I think the number six ranked offense in DVOA in football, as ranked by Pro Football Outsiders, and kept them to 17 points and 10 points respectfully. If that analytic was a little bit too advanced for you, let me break it down in another fashion. The Dallas Cowboys are the number one scoring offense in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers are top nine in the NFL. You know what their defense did? Shut them down. I'm not mentioning the offense, and you know why I'm not mentioning the offense? Because 10 is at the helm of the offense. He is the guy, I think Mina Kimes said, he is the guy who gets the A on the research paper that everyone does as a team, but he brings nothing to the table. He's not doing anything. He's not a net negative. He's not a net positive. He brings nothing to the table. I'll give him his credit. He made a couple of throws early in the game that his receivers dropped that they should have caught. He made the two passes to get them down the field. But when people talk to me about the 49ers, my response to them is the same every time. I trust everything around Jimmy Garoppolo. I do not trust Jimmy Garoppolo. Me and Mike Shanahan, me and Kyle Shanahan have had a relationship. It's been up and down this season. He's hitting his stride. The defense, I think, is playing over their head. They're playing out of their minds. You brought up Debo Samuel, beast. Trent Williams, beast. George Kittle, nice. Jawan James producing. Brandon Ayuk producing. I trust every single one of those guys except Jimmy Garoppolo. And when we get to talk about this NFC Championship game, I have no idea what's going to happen. I know that they'll be competitive, but I don't know if they're going to win simply because I cannot trust my quarterback. Yes, sir. Like you about
The
to say
reason
something.
the reason Ricky said luck is the reason that they're here is because luck is also the reason that they're not a Super Bowl caliber team because they need somebody like Andrew Luck to be quarterback of their team and then maybe they could have that. So now we have
Bruh.
to refer to him as Stimmy G. Stimmy. Remember when stimulus checks were a thing, right? You know what the thing about stimulus checks are is they showed up like once or twice a year and we're all still just waiting to see if maybe they'll show up again. So that's
Man.
that's why we have to call him Stimmy G because it's so unpredictable and it's so like you know what you can kind of give me that feeling sometimes when it comes to when it comes to playing football. But yes, he's just not good. But shout out to the defense. Shout out to holding Dak and Aaron Rodgers, two of the probably top I would say two of the top four quarterbacks in the NFC.
Mm, okay.
So shout out to them beating both of them on the road in the playoffs. You can't take that away from Fred Warner. Incredible. Just people just flying around and making plays. They're fun to watch defensively. Um, but yeah, like I said, my confidence meter going into next week, beating the Rams, is just not there. Just because Jimmy Garoppolo is still a quarterback.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Sunday's game. So the early game, Rams versus Buccaneers on NBC, gave you that old school feel with that afternoon game happening on a Sunday with NBC broadcasting. Um, 27-3. And so here's the thing, right? I was late in uploading the football portion of last week's podcast, right? So when it was 27-3, I got it uploaded before I went to dinner with the family. And I said, look, we went at that point, we had both gotten the Titans game wrong. We had both gotten the Packers game wrong. And I said, listen, we're probably going to go we're 1-2 right now with the Bills and Chiefs game pending. And I count that one as a win because I thought they're not coming back. The defense has shut them down. And then all of a sudden, fumble, turnover, turnover. And then they just kept I'm like, are you guys really about to give Tom Brady another week of everyone just on his jock about how great he is and how it's never over with him and yada 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 and all the storylines that you get with Brady? They were able to find that busted coverage. They hit Cooper Cup. They kicked the field goal. They win the game. Shout out to the Rams. And the story I've heard all week is that's why you signed Matt Stafford for that pass, that throw right there to Cooper Cup. Those two throws, good for him. But bro, you almost were the quarterback who blew the whole thing along with the defense. So shout out to them. Your thoughts on that game?
I don't know that. I don't know that I would say Matt Stafford blew the game. I mean, Cam Akers fumbled twice. There's a
True, true,
14-point
true.
swing on the first fumble. The second fumble is literally like down in the time of the clock, and
True,
you're running
true.
through it, and Dominican Sue's falling. Yeah, and then let's not get like, how do you kick a 47-yard field goal short? Like how is Matt Gay 4 yards short on a 47-yard field goal? I promise you, there's only been a handful of times in my life where I ever watched like football and really said, this might be rigged. This really might be like, I really might buy into all. When he kicks a short 47-yard field goal, I was like, oh no, this is what's going on right now. What is going on?
Yeah.
Last week I said Stafford's gonna Stafford and Brady's gonna Brady. Well, everything started falling in place in the fourth quarter for Brady to Brady. It's just that they scored too quick, and then there was a blown coverage, and Stafford put it on the money. I ain't gonna lie. That was a
Yeah,
nice
it was a
pass.
great throw. It was a great throw. You're right. I had to walk that back. Stafford did not Stafford because the third three of that what that three of the four turnovers were fumbles, with the third one being his center snapping the ball before he was ready, it going 10 yards over his head and then not being able
Yeah.
to recover it. So you're right. You're
Like,
absolutely
this
right on
is
that.
rigged, bro. There's no way, bro. You snap over his head, 47-yard field goal short, a freaking Dominican Sue falling over, pulling the dang ball. Man, I was mad.
I'm pretty sure if people in Detroit were watching that game and going, Matt Stafford is cursed. He's cursed. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that makes sense of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
But again, shout out to the Rams, and let's get to the game we all want to talk about here. The game of the year, the game of the century. In my opinion, the greatest game ever, greatest football game I've ever seen in my life. Bills versus Chiefs, an incredible affair, 42-36 overtime thriller. Um, let's just jump to the fourth quarter. We can just start there. The back and forth, 25 points scored in the fourth quarter. And as I watched the
In the last
game,
2 minutes, right?
in the last 2 minutes, three lead changes the last 2 minutes? Um,
Something like that. Yeah.
I thought when he hit Gabriel Davis for that touchdown, I thought that's it. That's ball game.
Yeah.
And I think everybody in the stadium did.
Hmm.
I was in a group chat with some Chiefs fans, and I held back. I had the "I'm sorry, y'all" post ready to send. Our homie Dre, he hits me up in the DM. He goes, "Can they get in field goal range from here?" I said, "Only if Jesus intervenes." And when he completed the first pass, he sent me the eyes emoji. I said, "Jesus hasn't intervened yet." When he completed the pass to Kelsey, he sent me the eyes emoji again. I said, "Jesus has not intervened yet." Then when
Wait,
they
yeah,
kicked
he
the
had.
no, he hadn't, because Bucker still got to make the field goal, and he had missed
Yeah, but
two
it's a
of them.
40. It's a 47-yard field goal, though.
He had missed one from 50,
No,
and
no,
he
no,
had
no,
missed
no.
the
Okay,
extra
my bad.
point.
He asked you, can they get in field goal range, and you said
Right.
only if Jesus
Well,
intervened. So yeah,
they
they were in
they
clear
were in
field goal
field goal
range.
range, but you still had to have that last part of it to complete the comeback. They kick the field goal, and he goes, "Bruh," and I went, "Dog!" Like, I just couldn't believe what I saw. I want to say this about the play of, I almost said Aaron Rodgers, the play of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. This was the greatest quarterback play I've ever seen in my life. I felt this on a spiritual level, right? Like, I feel like at the end of that game, God sat on his throne and he said, "Amen. This was very good. This was a masterpiece." This is like listening to Stevie Wonder's song in the key of life for the first time. This is like listening to Luciano Pavarotti sing in an opera for the first time. And he hits that high note, and you are just like, you feel like you see the heavens open up, right? Like, this is like listening to Illmatic for the first time in your life. Watch whatever film masterpiece you want to compare it to. It was that. It was unbelievable. And I don't like as much to hear people talk about what defenses did wrong, that the defenses were inept, that they weren't good. You were literally at the mercy of two masters who were at the top of their game, and there was nothing you could do about it. You were at their women mercy, and whether or not the game was won or lost just depended on if the players around them could execute when the passes were thrown to them, or could the offensive lines protect and do what they needed to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. definitely. I once it was 13 seconds to go, I was like, two plays. You got two plays. I knew they had two plays. I thought for sure it would be a pooch kick or a squib kick or something. I thought for sure because I'm like, you know what? In my mind, a play is 5 to 6 seconds. If you can get 2 seconds off of the clock and get it down to 11, now you've really made it tough on that first play to have to drop with 6 seconds to go. You know what I mean? Um, whenever it was 13 seconds, I was like, oh, they got two plays. I thought they were going to end up kicking a 58-yard field goal rather than a 48-yard field goal, which they should have. But I mean, obviously, great by Travis Kelsey to see the field on the play before and to lengthen that out a little bit. But yeah, man, it was one of those games where if you're a Bills fan or a Chiefs fan, you're like, why do I do this to myself? Like you
Man,
have your blood pressure cuff on, you're checking your anxiety, you're taking your meds and everything. You wake up the next day and you're like, wow, sports, like really, like, I care that much. But it was a joy to watch. I watched it with Los, and Los is a Cowboys fan, but I mean, obviously watched it at Ugly Joe's with the place packed out with Chiefs fans and stuff. So just to see
yep,
people just going crazy, it was definitely a lot of fun. And like you said, it was literally, it sucks somebody had to lose that game with how well Josh Allen played, because they literally um, lost to the Chiefs last year, right? And they come
yep.
back this year and they're better, they're bigger, they're better, their defense is better. They've done all of this so that in this game, these are the games they win and they still lose. And it's just kind of like, how do you go back to the drawing board after this year and say, well, next year we'll get them, when this was like, you literally
This is the
played
year.
the best offensive, again. Yeah, it's got to be just gut wrenching. So,
Listen,
but yeah, thank God for football, because man, that was probably the best game I've ever seen live. It's probably, if I'm looking at it from like a sports fan. Obviously, I'm a fan of Tennessee, so I've seen games live the greatest games ever because we won.
right.
But like sports wise, just the back and forth is probably the greatest game I've ever seen live.
Listen, man. I empathize with Bills fans because you have to think with 13 seconds left, you won the game, right? If you want to say they made a tactical mistake by not playing the middle of the field, by protecting the sideline because the Chiefs still had three timeouts, so you didn't have to protect and play the
Two, they
sideline.
had two, but yeah,
My
they only
fault,
had two. But yeah,
two timeouts. But
yeah,
um, the only thing that comes close to me of having that kind of gut punch is being a Cubs fan and them blowing game 6 and 7 to the Marlins back in '03. And last time I ever cried over a sporting event was the Chicago Cubs blowing that lead, um, game 7 in Wrigley Field to the Marlins. So Bills fans, my heart goes out to you. Hopefully this isn't one of those, either one or two things happen at this point. Like this is I guess a sliding glass door moment, if you will. Either they mature from this, they come back, they finally get over that hump and beat the Chiefs, or they crumble. And I hope it's not the
yeah.
latter. I hope it's not the latter, but that's one of those franchise altering losses that I don't. One or two things are going to happen. I don't think there's any in between on those two. Man, let us know what y'all think
But
about
let me
that.
look
Hit
at
us up.
as
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
Bills fan, though. I mean, as a Bills fan, they're the Bills. They lose the big games. That's kind of a Bills thing to do.
It is.
Unfortunately, so they've dealt with that for years as well.
And it's crazy how the fortunes of the Chiefs have turned because I feel like a couple of those, I mean, to me, all all four of the teams that lost, like those are ways that the Chiefs used to lose games, right? Defense completely dominates,
Hmm.
but your offense can't get on track. That's Tennessee.
Hmm.
Defense again, another defensive slugfest in the Packers and the Niners. And of all the ways to lose a game, it's because a punt gets blocked, right?
Hmm.
Um, Gut punch game like this against the Bills, and then I guess am I missing one? Oh, Buccaneers, right? You make this have this unbelievable comeback, and then just to lose it in the end. So
Yeah.
I feel like the Chiefs had that kind of house of horrors when it came to losing in gut punching ways and gut wrenching ways in the playoffs, and now it seems to be everybody else that has those types of losses. So All right, let's jump into the NFC and AFC title game. We're starting the NFC first. 49ers versus Rams. We kind of hinted at what our picks are, but I'll start with you. 49ers versus Rams at SoFi, but it will probably be a neutral game or maybe another home game for the 49ers. They are rumored that maybe 65% of the fans in the stadium will be 49ers fans. So who you got in that game?
Yeah, I got the Rams. I got the Rams. I think they're the better team. Just going into it. I think all around they're the better team. I think that they have a better defense than what the Green Bay Packers had, and I think that their defensive line will probably make the adjustments. Ramsey on Debo, but they're going to find ways to getting the ball out of the backfield so doesn't have to go. He doesn't have to put Jimmy Garoppolo in positions to throw picks to Ramsey. So, but yeah, I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking the Rams by I'll give them a touchdown. So I'll take them by 6.5.
Uh,
Don't do it.
beating a
Keep picking
team
against them.
beating a team three times in a row is incredibly hard to do. I'm not sure how many times that has happened in an NFL season. I have to look that up. Um, beating a team seven times in a row, which is what they've beaten them six times in a row, is what the Niners have done to the Rams, is incredibly hard. I think this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be close for all four quarters, in part because the 49ers play a style of football, like we talked about last week, that allows them to stay in most games. Yet I disagree. I think the Rams have better star power overall, but I think the Packers might have a better overall defense. I think
Hmm.
that the 49ers can run the ball on the Rams. They've proven that in two games this year. I think they'll be able to do so again and play some ball control. Um, I think defensively they can get pressure by sending only four. They don't have to blitz, where Stafford is really good against the blitz. But with all that said, their quarterback is still Jimmy Garoppolo, and I cannot the way he's playing right now. Like someone posted stats, Trent Dilfer, the year they won the Super Bowl with the Ravens, is playing better football than Jimmy Garoppolo. Debo Samuel, on top of being everything for for the 49ers right now, he's also their leading touchdown thrower. He's thrown the only touchdown pass for the 49ers in this playoff. Jimmy has yet to do so. So I'm going to pick the Rams simply because no, I'd say you cannot continue this streak. Like you cannot continue to beat this one team. And so I think this is the time. I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think this is the time that the Rams finally get over the hump, and then we have a second consecutive home team playing in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. All right, so let's jump to Bengals versus Chiefs. Who do you got?
I got Chiefs big. I think this is going to be a. I think Chiefs are going to run away with this game. Um, and so I'm going with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a lot different than the first time they played. What, 5 weeks ago? I think it was about 5 weeks
Mhm.
ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Um, I think the Chiefs will make the adjustments. I think that being home, Arrowhead Stadium is it's electric, man. And Mahomes has played in his now fourth straight AFC Championship game. If there was one thing you noticed about Patrick Mahomes last week, man, this dude was Jordan esque. Like every time they panned to him on the sidelines, the dude was just cool, man. He was just unbothered. He just looked like, you know what? Let's go do what I do. You know what I mean? And like I just feel like that's just kind of how that's going to kind of overflow into this weekend. I don't think they've cleared Matthew, but I think that he is
He
trending
practiced
upwards to
today.
play this weekend.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
on the field today. He just got a clear concussion protocol now.
yeah. So I think that'll be a big thing, especially with those wide receivers, man. If Gabriel Davis can put up 204 touchdowns while we're trying to stop Diggs, then T Higgins can put up 408 touchdowns if we're trying to stop Jamar Chase. So I think it'll be a big point to get Matthew back. But yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs by double digits, man. I just
You
think I
know,
think both of these games.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You said go ahead.
I
Finish
was
your
saying
thought.
I think both of these games are. I think both of these games are clear, like non like the field goal wins or whatever. I think both of these games will be pretty much over. Going towards the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter.
So I'm picking the Chiefs, and I echo some of those same sentiments. Listen, if the Bengals want to show up and score 19 points against the Chiefs at home, try that if you want to, and it'll be 40-19 final score.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I agree. I think the Chiefs, as long as they clean up the little mistakes that they made in that first game, their tackling was atrocious in that game, both in the open field and getting Joe Burrow down. They had multiple opportunities to sack him. They couldn't get him down. He was able to extend plays and then make plays. I don't think there'll be as many penalties as there were in that first game. And I think the Chiefs, you got to they're not going to sneak up on you now. I think they could have snuck up on them that first game and potentially beat them. I don't think there isn't any sneaking up on them this time. I think they're going to come out. The defense, Spags is going to not be Spags and be stubborn and run a bunch of uh you know single coverage one-on-one matchups. He's going to mix in more zone, allow his front four to get pressure. Chris Jones was a beast in that game, an absolute beast for four
Hmm.
quarters. Allow those guys to make plays up front, let the defense handle the rest. And right now, the Chiefs' offense is locked in. They're locked in. They're playing some of their best football of the season. And I just don't think that the Bengals have enough. Their defense is going to be good enough to stop them. Maybe slow them down. They were up 14 the first time. All they got to do is
Yeah.
finish off, and I think they win that game. So, y'all let us know what y'all think.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead. You were
If the
going to say
Chiefs
something?
even get 4 sacks, I mean, Burrow was sacked 9 times. If the Chiefs get 4 or 5 sacks, it's going to be a long, like, don't give us 9. If we get half that, it's going to be, um, it's going to be very, very, very tough. And then I did want to say, because you mentioned the penalties, man,
Mhm.
a lot of times we don't give the officials the benefit of the doubt, but I thought the officials officiated the Chiefs and Bills last week very, very well. You know what I mean? It was just such a it was so fun to watch. It wasn't like, another flag, type mentality. And so I'm definitely hoping that this week, once again, they let them play, and then and it's a game that's called well.
Yeah, I think after the wild card weekend, I think there are definitely some concerns about the refereeing. The Raiders and the Bengals game had some janky calls and things that happened in that game. So I'm glad to see that we got through this past weekend without talking about the officials and the refereeing. So I'm very happy about that. So let's close the show out. We're going to jump. You can let us know what y'all think about that. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, IG at Brains and Bars, and let us know what you think about those topics. Who you have on those games. Hold on one second. So let's jump into this last segment here. We got everybody loves the list. So let's jump into we want to jump into a couple of top five lists, right? And so on top of watching what we consider to be the greatest football game we've ever seen, I
Hmm.
wanted to go through, and I don't know if you have a list, but I have a top five football games I've ever seen. So I'll go first, and if you got one, you can jump in.
Okay.
My top
Yeah.
five, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. Patriots versus Chiefs in 2009 AFC title game. I thought that game was incredibly compelling. You had Mahomes doing what he does again, 30 something seconds left. I think it was 37 seconds left. They needed a field goal to force overtime. He does that. Patriots win in overtime on the first possession. Texas versus USC, Vince Young game. Dramatic fourth down stop by the Longhorn defense. Vince Young leads them down to score a touchdown to win that game. Bush push game in '05. Also, USC versus Notre Dame. Probably one of the more sadder games of my life. Matt Leinart sneaks in at the end, push by, which was illegal, by the way. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
He was not supposed to do that. They should have threw a flag on that. Reggie Bush pushes Matt Leinart into the end zone to win that game. 49ers versus Seattle, which prior to the Bills versus Chiefs, this is the 2014 NFC Championship game. This is the don't you ever try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree. That game, that Richard Sherman game, that was the greatest football game I'd ever seen in my life. And then obviously Bills versus Chiefs in 2014 or 2021. That's the greatest football game I've ever seen. How about yourself?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I think watching the Bills and the Chiefs is possibly the best game I've ever seen. As far as in person, I watched Tennessee beat Arkansas in 6 overtimes. In Jason Witten, this is back. This is back. I think even before you had to go for two. Um, but yeah, Jason Witten caught like a touchdown pass to win the game. probably the craziest game I ever seen in person. Another game I like to mention is Oklahoma versus Boise State. That bowl game with the famous
Mm.
Statue of Liberty play, the hook and ladder. Quite possibly one of the greatest games I ever watched. Um, and then not to be, are we talking specific to football right now?
Yeah, specific to football, but if you want to go off the board, you
Okay.
can.
I was gonna go UConn and Syracuse in was it the Big East championship?
That's the Kimball Walker. Are you talking about the Kimball Walker game or the
Yeah,
six overtime game?
yeah, yes, the six overtime, and that's definitely probably top five of just sporting games that I've ever watched.
Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. So y'all let us know what y'all think about what are the five greatest. And if you want to expand, I'll go off the board and do other sports you can. But if you have the five greatest football games you ever seen, hit us up on IG, Twitter, Facebook at Brains and Bars. All right. So last top five list, and we'll call it a night. This is something that you posted, so I'm interested to get your take on
Yeah.
this. And we had some dialogue and back and forth on it. Top five rookies who are left in the NFL playoffs. So my top five list going from 5 to 1. Trey Smith, the right guard for the Chiefs. I think he's been good this year. Elijah Mitchell, running back for the 49ers. 6th round pick out of Louisiana. Trey Sermon was supposed to be that guy, but it ended up being Elijah
Yep.
Mitchell who was that guy. Nick
Where Trey
Bolton,
Sermon got hurt.
he did get hurt, but he was in the doghouse for a good portion of the season as well.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yes, Nick Bolton, middle linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I was kind of skeptical of the pick. He ended up being the guy, though. He's going to be the guy in the middle for the Chiefs for a very long time. Creed Humphrey, who, if it were not for my number one, might be the rookie of the year offensively,
Hmm.
and then the potential and probable rookie of the year, Jamar Chase for the Bengals. That's my top five. Who you got?
Yeah, mine doesn't deviate. Mine doesn't. I mean, mine's pretty much the same. I mean, the same five guys. I just mentioned, guys like Evan McPherson that we talked about on on Twitter. Just, I mean, in a time where you just had the greatest weekend of all time of football, and one, two, three of them were all won by field goals. Like that doesn't happen. I know field goal kickers are looked at a certain way, but like it's either the goat or the goose. I don't know if that's even a phrase or whatever. It's like there's something that's either the this or
I
that.
mean,
You know what I mean? Like,
I would say either goat or scapegoat. I mean, I think you can use goat for both.
yeah, yeah. And so I think Evan McPherson's been really, really good for the Bengals this year. Weekend where a lot of people missed field goals and just had rough times. There's a guy. This guy was I was just I was looking up whenever I was actually made the tweet or whatever. But there is a guy who's been playing well on special teams for the Rams, and his last name is like Skroet,
Ben Ben
Skro. You know,
Ben Skoranek. Ben Skoranek. He played
yeah,
wide
and
receiver at Notre Dame.
he's made a couple good catches too that I've noticed. Here and there. He's obviously not top five material, but I was trying to think of different rookies because the Rams don't really have a lot of. I don't know pick wise if they had a lot that they chose. But
Taylor Rapp was their starting safety, so he's been hurt, so he hasn't played in the playoffs to this
mhm.
point. But Taylor Rapp has been starting for them a lot this year. So they're
Okay,
you gotta search, but you can find them. But
yeah,
shout out
but
to
when
you
you look at
showing love.
when you look at
Shout out to you
to
showing
Notre
love to
Dame,
special teams. No, well, I mean that too,
oh,
but shout out to you showing some love to the special teamers, man. We appreciate that.
yeah, no, no doubt, no doubt. And so yeah, that's I just want to say if there was a few that deserve to be named because obviously, let's go, Miss Bay. um, Obviously, guys like I mean the Chiefs had Smith, Creed, and Bolton, and that's just.
Mhm.
I mean, that just turned out to be an incredible draft class to pick up
Right.
Creed and Smith late, and then not even have a first round pick, but pick up Bolton there in the second round. Um, and then I'm pretty much the rest of the teams. The Niners don't they have an offensive lineman that might be a rookie? Don't they have like a
Yeah, Aaron Banks from Notre Dame. He has not started this
okay,
year, so he's been on the bench
okay,
all year. I know Jalen Moore is a backup swing tackle for them, but Trey Sermon. I'm not sorry, not Trey Sermon, but
Elijah
Elijah
Mitchell and
Mitchell has been the guy. He's been the guy.
yeah,
But yo, that's our
yeah.
time, man. So Bay,
And then we know. I mean,
go ahead, go ahead.
Now I
Speaking
say
right.
we both know that Jamar Chase is just otherworldly. He's just otherworldly. He literally is like to bring it full circle. Rum Nitty, we call him the alien, the battle rap. Like when I watched Jamar Chase play football, like the way he just caught that screen pass last week, like casually, like leans his body out and just grabs it over here, and like in all one motion, he's already just gone. Like it just when you watch him, you're like, oh, this dude's different, you know. And so that's
Facts.
why he's gonna be your rookie of the year.
Facts, facts. So, Bay, no Fanatic tonight. We'll maybe at some point we'll have a discussion about Fanatic. Shout out to Fanatic though. Obviously, we met him 3 years ago. Very nice gentleman, dope individual. But we'll
Dope.
dive into that at some other time. We thank you guys for tuning in with us, joining in on this episode of It's a Black and White Thing. Please remember you can check us out on all streaming platforms or YouTube just by searching at Brands and Bars. Please rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow A Ward by going to his Twitter at I am A Ward. I'm sorry, I am A Ward. I am A Ward.com for all things merch, battle related information. If I'm not missing anything, thank you for tuning in to another episode of It's a Black
And white.
Thing with A1 and A Ward. We'll holler at y'all next week. We'll break down AFC NFC title game and talk about the Super Bowl. So until next
We'll
time, man,
talk
y'all be
about
easy.
both of our teams going to the Super Bowl.
I'm not sure I'm
Lord
ready
willing.
for it. I'm not. Oh God, I can't deal
Lord
with
willing.
if they beat the Niners again. And I can't deal with it. I can't deal with
We'll be
it.
all right.
But all right,
Y'all
man.
take care, man.
Y'all take it easy.